right, it's time for the prime time political program on TV. It's called Politics and You on People's Television. My name is Anthony Momodu. Welcome to today's edition. Uh, all over the media, right here in Nigeria, the main discourse for people is the 13-page letter written by ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo as regards the happenings in the country. The highlight of the letter stands out the fact that he urged the present President Muhammadu Buhari not to seek re-election come 2019, and also urged the Nigerian people to move to the new movement for Nigeria. And the big question is, should we look at the message and leave the messenger, or should we look at both sides of the coin? And one man who is here to help me look into this 13-page letter, and if possible make it a one-page letter, is Alhaji Ali Abacha, who is an APC chieftain from Borno State and also the national coordinator of the Coalition for Civil Society, Transparency and Good Governance. Good evening. Nice to have you join us on Politics and
Thank you. Good evening, yes.
All right, looking at the 13-page letter, first of all, what was your reaction when that letter, the news of the 13-page letter broke?
Thank you very much. It was very unfortunate for a former president who has a high regard and respect by Nigerians, including the international community, to write this kind of letters for a sitting president. I know he used to meet with president at any given time. I think he had met with the president one-on-one over 3 to 4 times when the Buhari became the president of this country.
Okay.
So we need a leader like this. If you need any advice, you must to go and consult him and advise him in a way how he can govern and affairs of the nations. But by coming out and bring out this letter for general public, we are looking at it, it's a destructive. So you look at the other part of the world, once a president serves his tenure and leave, there will be no interferences. Why in African policies or African system of politics, you are there for today, you are there for tomorrow and beyond. So we cannot allow democracy to go further.
You call it an interference. In 2015, just before the general elections, we had the same ex-president write a letter to the incumbent, they're talking about Goodluck Jonathan, where he named his failures and also predicted that he was going to fail. In this same letter, the president followed the same route, saying he shouldn't seek for re-election because of his health status, and that he was old enough to join the other league of ex-presidents. For you, do you think the president is going to fail if he stands for re-election?
No, it was the Nigerian people that brought Buhari into power through one man, one vote. So one person, an individual, cannot vote his mind that he is the alpha and omega for Buhari's success in the election in 2015. Where we are looking at Buhari, remember he contested for 3 good times, 2003, 2007, 2011. All those cases ended at the Supreme Court. So in 2015, he came with his blueprint. Nigerians agree and supported, and he was elected to rule these nations. So for also, it's on call for Buhari at this particular time that we need an elderly advice in the way forward. Especially look at me as you can see me. I am from Borno State. For the period of the former regimes, we don't even normally go to our home. I'm from Northeast Borno State, where the Boko Haram is happening. But now when Buhari came on board, I think he has been peaceful to our regions. So we can go every 2 weeks, 3 weeks and go and visit our family and come back. So in the area of this area, I think Buhari has done very well in terms of economy. Look at our foreign reserve. It has gone up beyond reasonable doubt. So I think most of the crises that we are seeing, Buhari was inherited those crises.
All right, let's look at the issues before we get into how well or the scorecard of Mr. President. Let's look at the issues the ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo raised. The issue of security, the issue of the president's health. Would you say, in all sincerity, that you think a man as not as healthy as the president should seek for re-election, go through the rigors of campaigning and all that? Do you truly think he should stand for re-election rather than a younger mind coming to, lead us through?
Thank you very much. In the area of health, it's only the doctor that had the right to advise him to continue or not. But an individual like me and Obasanjo, I think we don't have that right to say Buhari is incapable of running these nations. It's allow the health people to do. But to look at Buhari now, since he came back from medical trip, I think look at the way a man.
But do you think he can stand the rigors of campaign?
He can stand.
Why do you think so?
He can stand. There are many past leaders, if you remember, they are 80, 85. They did well in their various countries. So why our own is different? But I think they are a kind of plan to discredit these regimes, and they want to, look at the good work he's doing.
Which area are you talking about?
The area of security. I'm from northeast regions.
Are you satisfied with the killings of Nigerians by herdsmen in different parts
I'm
of the
not
country?
satisfied. I don't
So how would you adjudge that?
This is unfortunate, and as Nigerians, as a human being, I will never pray for any individual to be killed just like that. But it was unfortunate. So it's an issue that the government must work harder and harder.
Are you satisfied with the response of the government in terms of how they've tackled this issue of herdsmen?
Yeah,
killings?
Look at Buhari, even asked the IG to relocate to Benue State, go and clear all this mess. And this is a commitment. I think there are some serving ministers who also went there and look at it. If this kind of trouble, it's not the first time that we are seeing this kind of killing, burning of properties, and destructions. This is happening.
But don't you believe it has increased, especially the fact that it's specifically aimed, done by this herdsman carrying out this attack? Would you say you've been satisfied with the way IPOB issue was treated and other issues of different parts of the country? And if you check what is happening in Taraba and Benue, would you say you're satisfied?
Really, it's very, very important on that regard as human beings. But I believe Buhari has said it several times in his speech to the nations that he can do as much as he can to make sure that he arrest this situation that is happening. This killing, not even in Benue alone, it's happening in Taraba, in Brinkebi, I think virtually even in River State. So it's not only the headmen that kills. There are high assassin killed. There are some political killers also are there. So I believe the president and his security men, they will be able to overcome this crisis by God's grace.
Okay, look at the president also in the letter tried to inspire Nigerians to start a new movement which he believes will be able to defeat the PDP and the APC. For you, are you convinced this his mandate or the clarion call he made, Nigerians are going to, probably key into it? Do you see that happening, and how could that be dangerous for APC?
No, it cannot be dangerous for APC. But in Nigeria, you have the right to associate with any of the political party.
Okay.
But at this particular time, when the Nigerians are seeing changes, it will be very difficult to change the mindset of Nigerians.
When you say changes, in what aspect? I don't think
I give you some example now. I'm from Northeast, in which I cannot not go to my state in about 4 or 5 years. Okay. But now I do go to my state in every 2 weeks to visit my family. Okay. So to show that peace has returned to.
For you, is that the only problem Nigeria is facing currently?
There are many challenges. But
the issue of the fuel scarcity, are you comfortable with it?
So this fuel scarcity, I believe it's artificial by the marketers.
Okay.
So those are the people who they want it very difficult to the government, so that they can increase these points in order to make their way. So it is a man-made artificial. It's not a natural something that we talk about. So although we've been experiencing this kind of fuel scarcity, even the time of other leaders that came and gone. So sometimes I remember we sleep in the petrol station for 3, 4, 5 days before we were able to get our fuel. But when Buhari came and lifted this so-called petroleum subsidies, I think within 5 minutes you enter the petrol station and have your fuel. But this issue of scarcity, it's just happened some few weeks to happen. So I believe very soon, like today now, for Abuja as I know, there was no full queue.
Okay, one of the issues raised in the letter also also had to do with appointments, saying the kind of appointment the president has done over time. One of the issues was that it seemed to be from a certain part of the country, his own ethnic people, in terms of the security architecture, and people have raised the issue that it seemed very unfair for him, the president, to do that. For you, how do you see that part of?
So thank you very much. If you look at the service chief, they are four in numbers. The chief of defense staff is from the southwest. Chief of army staff from the northeast. Chief of naval staff is from the south. If you look at, I think Buhari had given the balanced equation in the area of that. That's why they were working.
For the NIA boss, the issue raised about him and the fact that all they say, critics say 60 to 70% of the ministers and those appointed, whether DGs or directors, have not actually performed above board. Do you agree with that analysis?
No, I didn't agree on that analysis. I think most of the people, they have done their best. But remember, the time President took over power in this country, we know how we are. We know how the economy was bastardized. You know, when you find something difficult, before you come and resolve everything within a short period of time, it will take some time.
But that wasn't the promise the APC government gave before they came in. Was
Yeah,
that the promise?
well, they gave, but they couldn't know that it was highly bastardized. It was the time when they came on board, they found out that really the country was very, very bad in the area of economy, area of security, area of agriculture, area of education. So, you know, before you set it up and put it right, then Nigeria must be patient and give the president a hope of deliverance so that the Nigeria can move forward.
Okay, Obasanjo also raised the issue of corruption, saying that the president came in saying he was going to fight corruption, but not able to fight the corruption within his own administration. For instance, the SGF, the Magu issue, and also the wife of Mr. President retweeting certain comments that were made in the National Assembly. We know that in African culture and in normalcy, a man and a woman should speak in one voice. But when the First Lady is always speaking opposite direction, does that not tell us that truly the president is not in charge?
No, sorry to say, you know, in democracy, your wife can be another political party, your son can be in another political party. So everybody has a right to express his decisions. So you talk of the ministers are not performing. I think if you look at it, all the projects that is happening uncompleted that was inherited by him is ongoing. Look at some roads in Abuja, it is expanding. Look at bridges.
Is it fair to use Abuja to give a scorecard?
No, Abuja, go to, I was in Abia.
Okay.
2 years ago, as I went, it's unmotorable. But now, during December, I went for a program, I went by road. Believe me, work was going. And there are so many places. But remember, Nigeria is a very good country. So, with over 180 populations and thousands of roads. And remember, most of the roads fail because our big truck that carry heavy load in the road always bringing it difficult to manage it. So now that Buhari has given adequate money for railway now is started constructed in the nation. If this one can achieve, then the burden on the road will be reduced because most goods will be transported through the rail to the various states.
I hope I want you to, look at the First Lady's issue. You've not. What's your stand on that?
Yeah. So the First Lady, as I told you, everybody has his right for his contribution.
Is it possible that the president was doing well and the wife will just choose not to back the husband? She's rather towing the line of majority of Nigerians, the lawmakers in the House, who are saying that the appointments have been faulty. The people that have been given appointments, DG of NIA and co, they've not delivered. Could the National Assembly and the First Lady and majority of Nigerians be so wrong?
Yeah, in some other areas, I believe the National Assembly are not happy the way and manner Mr. President is fighting the corruptions. So what is so important, what is so interesting that Magu should be removed? You know,
is he fighting it very well that SSG, it took forever for the SSG to be probed and finally arrested? Are you saying that was a fair deal?
you know, when somebody say he was found on corruptions, you set a committee to investigate on that matter. That's why the committee was set up by the president, headed by the vice president. So when they found him, finally he was sacked, and now Magu has arrested him for investigation. And if they found him guilty, then the law will take
Okay.
his way.
All right, are there, for you, what would be the part you think the president should take from the letter and the areas you think they've not done well?
The government.
Yes. What part of the letter do you think the government should look at and, decide to probably heed the advice of the ex-president?
So
Then also, which areas are you not comfortable with that you think the president needs to work on?
okay, my own now. Buhari has said it some weeks ago, that he's going to add more ministers. You know, by doing so, it will increase the manpower to the government.
Will it increase the manpower, or is just job for the boys before the election year?
And no, it's not so, because there are other big ministries. So they need to expand it so that they could do their job accordingly. So this area that he said he is going to appoint more ministers that will come and help those that are working. I think it's a welcome development. So the area that the letter for Mr. Obasanjo, where I'm not comfortable as a leader, he has access to Mr. President at all given time. So why can't he go?
So are you saying there's no good thing in that letter
So
that was written?
you know, before you go on air, there's need for you to go and meet the man. This is the area.
Well, probably has met him and he has refused to listen. That's why he went public.
So me, anytime he go, he come out. When the media engage him on interview, he always commend Mr. President that he's doing his job. He should continue with the anti-corruption fight, and the area of economy is doing well. The area of education and among other things is doing well. So there's no way, there's no time Obasanjo has ever come out and condemned Buhari. It was just on that recent 13 pages that he issued 2-3 days ago.
Do you think there's a plan by probably Obasanjo and other people to try to change things, upstage the president?
Yeah, for me, the way this letter came out, it seems like there's a plan to discredit this government.
Are you saying there's nothing wrong this present government has done? Of all the things named, are you saying they're all lies?
No, as a human being, it's only God that is perfect, has 100% perfect.
Okay.
Every human being must have his shortfall. So if, as a president, even if you are given a leadership in your home, I think it cannot be 100% perfect. There are some areas you may have little lapses. So, you know, if there's these little lapses, there's need for the past leaders to call for the leader for order in order to correct him, to move forward without bringing attention of Nigerians. You know, there are times when people are having the meetings, they will say, we have a closed door meeting.
Yes.
Yes. So why can't he go for that closed door meetings and advise him? Buhari served under Obasanjo, I think 2 occasions, when he was the head of state, and later when I made him minister for petroleum. I think you know him. They work as a military together. So why can't he call him and advise him if he really want the nation at heart? So that, you know, this issue of individuality, bringing letters is on call for. Look at other first leaders. When they finish their tenure, they go home and relax without interference.
Maybe because, don't you think it's because those countries, the president who is in charge is delivering, that's why they don't need to speak out. But probably President Muhammadu Buhari is not delivering. That's why Obasanjo has decided to speak out. You don't see it from that angle.
No, there are so many leaders that their citizens cry, going out, strike for his attitude. But yet, none of the former leader will react to that, because it's the man's time. Let him do better for their country. But our own, bipartisanism, and I must be every governance. So this is not good for our nascent democracy that we achieved for almost 18 or 19 years. So we need an advice. So someone that has access to to the presidency at any given time, why can't he go there and meet him, advise him in a way, a manner? But as I repeated again, he went there more than 3-4 times when he was president.
Okay, listening to Lai Mohammed, I don't know if the producer that can play us the comment by Lai Mohammed as response to Obasanjo's letter, but for you, the president's response by Lai Mohammed, how did you see? Did you think they were bold enough to talk to Obasanjo, telling him to his face? Rather, I heard the Minister of Information saying probably the ex-president his schedule was too busy for him to realize the development. Don't you think they were responding like they were scared of Obasanjo?
No, with due respect to Mr. President, every Nigerian must respect him because of his contributions, because of his age. But not that notwithstanding, if you go wrong, we also tell him the area that he didn't do well. So why the government there's a reason for that. Before they could come up with their statements, there was a kind of in-house discussions before the Minister of Information came up with the response, which was read by Lai Mohammed yesterday.
Okay. With what he said, for you, don't you feel bad that the presidency would want to respond to what Obasanjo said, but when other normal or ordinary citizens speak out, the presidency do not really regard their comments as anything worth it?
No, in every, even during the Obasanjo times, if there's any this kind of accusations, there is the government spokesman. Every matter that came off is the spokesman who will speak to Nigerians. Okay. Is the spokesman who will analyze the situations. So, if Lai Mohammed speaks, which means it's from the presidency.
Okay, let's just look at what would you think will be the political implication of this statement? Do you think it's likely to change the minds of political parties and they might begin to think about realignment because he has called for a new movement in Nigerian politics in order to beat the APC and the PDP? How possible is this going to be looking at the political space?
So thank you very much. Sometimes if you are going like this, if somebody reminded you, then you can stop and do the right things. That is welcome development. So, if in the area that someone did good, you commend him. In the area that he goes do bad, you also criticize him. So I believe this government now, I believe even Magu was saying yesterday that any foreign corruption leaders will be brought to book. This is a step forward.
But have they actually brought anyone to book?
No, it was the judiciary is always the major challenge, and the lawyers in Nigeria as well, with their respect.
What's wrong with the lawyers in
Nigeria? The lawyer, someone that who go and steal a god will be given a sentence of 10, 15 years. Even over 30 or 100 years. Someone that who steal billions of naira, they use technicality and remove out of bailing. So, if really we want to fight the corruptions, the judiciary, the lawyers, the politicians must come together in order to move this nation forward. But if you put sentiment for our dear country, I think it is very far for us to achieve what democracy is look alike in Nigeria.
This sentiment you talked about, most people have accused the Buhari-led administration of being sentimental, being nepotic in terms of the appointment. And what's your view about this administration in terms of that allegation?
So again, look at now the number of ministers. If you look at the numbers, I think the Christians are even more than the Muslims.
Are you being sincere with that analysis?
No, I'm sincere because, as I'm talking to people, I say this president will Islamize this country, is change this country from their Christianity belief to Islamic, which is not right, which is very wrong. So you look at his cabinet, the vice president is a Christian, the speaker from the northern part is a Christian. So, and what are you talking? It was a politics just in order to divide and rule the nations. That's why people were talking any way it comes to their mind. So, but Buhari is a law-abiding man who respects the rule of law.
Do the people around him, do you think the people around him or the people who are working for him, who he has appointed, do you think they're actually following playing by the rules.
So actually, in the governance, if you are working, as I mentioned earlier, you cannot achieve everything 100 over 100. Among his cabinet or among his officers, at least you must have one or two things that are not doing the right thing. But he cannot classify all of them as they are wrongdoers.
Okay.
So I think some of them are still doing, but
And what's your assessment of how he has dealt with those who are not delivering? Do you think he has been quick enough to change them or to sanction them when they go wrong?
so now
I would like
no,
a very honest
no,
assessment.
for
In as
record
much
now,
as-
the SGF is a very powerful office in our country, Nigeria.
Okay.
Look the way and manner he was suspended. After suspension, he was sacked.
The people who said that the removal of the SGF was forced on the president because it took him quite a longer time before making a decision. How could you say that's
So
being
now if
very fair?
somebody come and tell you say somebody is steal or somebody is corrupt, so you cannot just carry a 1 minute decisions. You put investigations.
But other people they arrest immediately. Why is theirs faster?
Okay, who and who? Now mention who and who that was arrested.
More other political parties are politicians who are not of the APC stock.
So those one they did this corruption attitude in the last administrations. Already they have their own record. So since they came on board, they went through the process.
Are you aware that the Minister of Information Transport was alleged to have corrupted his hands during the last elections, 2050 elections, then the state government force?
But you say allege. Allege is
Yes,
not such
I'm
allege.
asking you, just like other party members are, opposite party members are also alleged, but have already been taken in.
So, when you say it's an allege, and how he left his former party and joined this one, and the people who surrounded him in his state were not so happy. How can he leave his brother and join the northern man? So all kind of accusation, condemnation against him, they will forward it before it. So there's a judiciary, there's everything. If they have any thing against him, they are Nigerians. They write it to Nigeria, the area that what he has done, what he stole. So let us see. If you see me as an civil society man, I'll still come back here and add my voice to that.
Right, let's look at what will be, do you think these political parties, the APC and PDP, can do with this letter? Do you think it has damaged their reputation further? What challenge do you think this poses for them, especially also the new political parties? How do you think they can gain from this scenario?
So thank you very much. In every society in the world, politics has to go with noise. It's part of the democracy.
With noise?
With noise. So no matter if you do 99% good, so you will still have a lot of people will say what you do is not right. This is part of democracy. You cannot carry this one out of democratic city. It's part of the exercise. So each of the political parties, remember this country is a big country, over 180 populates. A new party to go and sell his manifestos and program, and Nigerians could understand. Look at some of them, they were newly registered just some few weeks, some few months, some last year. So, look at now, we have only 11 months for the next election, or 12 months.
Okay.
I believe we are going for the presentation around February or so, if I'm not mistaken, by INEC timetable.
Okay.
So, they must, if you really want to achieve, they must to bring their program a manifesto. But as a Nigerian, I think the existing party should be encouraged, should be guided. So look at the other part of the world. One party that will be there selling, if this one finishes, another one will inherit, so that the continuity will stabilize the economy, the security, among other things. But after 4 years, we would like to change the government. We want to register the political party. I think if you want to achieve this, you will know the political parties for 4, 5, 8 years, so that it will be matured. Nigeria will know it well, read the manifestos, the program, and their constitutions.
Do you think the Nigerian political parties have actually worked according to their manifesto?
So that's what I was telling you now. So that's why a new political parties, me as you see me, I was a gubernatorial candidate under Justice Party 2003. I was a vice president candidate under African political system 2007. Also, I ran for 2011 as a running mate under People Mandate Party. So, you know, in Nigerian politics, especially the presidential system of government that we are practicing,
yes,
is a very highly financial extensive care for you to achieve.
Okay.
You know, we adopted from America.
And you don't think Obasanjo, with what he's trying to push forward, he has the financial muscle to push a new party that could upstage the APC and PDP? Do you think
so
he has?
Even him, he was brought in by other politicians. We remember the time when he came out from Furzins.
Okay.
He has no one kobo. It was Nigerians because Northerners, they don't want to fill in their candidate. Let them give it to the Southerners. So thereafter, there was a 3 registered political parties. That was PDP, APP, and AD. So AD and APP brought joint tickets. Olufalaye and Shinkafi. Olufalaye as president candidate, Shinkafi as running mate. Obasanjo stand there with Atiku Abubakar. So because now they want him, they voted him, and he was the one who started killing the political parties by bringing impunity, by imposing. You can go there without due process. Obasanjo can go and arrest party chairman, suspend governors without due process. So this is the beginning of what we are facing now in Nigeria. Had if Buhari, Obasanjo had done well to stabilize the political party and the governance, all the issue of insecurity, killing, disagreement among one another could not happen.
But if the president knew that Obasanjo did all this, why did he keep listening to him, especially even when he came back to power? Why did he keep having closed-door meetings with him, a man that you say destroyed the political parties in Nigeria?
So at that time, PDP, we know how he goes because of impunity. Remember about 6 governors because of impunity that's happening in the party.
Yes.
In a mini convention, I remember they full out before the sitting president.
Okay.
So, because there are some conditions, the leadership of the party are not doing well. So they decided to say, okay, if you don't want, we are going to full out. So I remember there are 7 governors, so they full out. So Buhari, Obasanjo too saw the way manner the former president was being oppressed by strong politicians, so he's not doing the right things. Obasanjo also withdrew from the party and went and tore his membership cards before people. So as he has said, he's going to be a statement. He will not be in any of the political party. He has said it several times. So a leader, if he has spoken this kind of thing to Nigerians, so it should remain as an elder statement without interference in any of the political happening. He only go and advise as an elder statement as one of the former president, what do you call it, those that retired president.
President, okay, ex-president.
Ex-president. He has every access at any given time. He can see Buhari and advise him. Someone that he say I will not participate in political parties. Why now you want to come back to party? Is he right thing? So that's why we are calling for his order to allow this government to do what is right. We, particularly me, I'm so happy, and my state was liberated from the hand of Boko Haram.
All right, let's look, finally, looking ahead of 2019, do you think the president should listen to Obasanjo not to stand for re-election, and do you think he's going to fail, or do you think he's going to succeed? What can stop the president from succeeding?
Buhari is going to succeed.
What can stop him from succeeding?
Look at in every election as an individual.
Okay.
Look at the kind of vote that Nigerian always voted for him. So it's not a one-man decisions overnight, just like a company, hire and fire.
Okay.
So it cannot be done like this one. So it was Nigeria who brought him. from 2003, 11, and 7,
If-
and finally won in
If
2022.
Nigerians don't vote him back in 2019,
It's a democracy.
Okay.
You know, if he wins, then you know, someone, I think he took over from Goodluck. When Goodluck lost the election, he considered and congratulated him. So if Nigeria do not like him, he can do as his process did. I think Obasanjo should leave Buhari alone. If he has any meaningful contribution and move this nation forward by bringing this, it's a kind of distractions. Every time you write a pages of papers, you become an issue without the developmental aspect that we are intend to achieve from the presidency.
Okay, for you, what would be your message to, the new political parties? How do you think they can,
Yes,
position themselves
So
as a way of trying to change the Nigerian system?
So thank you very much. Constitution has provided that no multi-political party should be registered by our constitutions.
Okay.
That's why now this current chairman that was on board is registering so many political parties. I think now it's around 80 or so.
Well,
So
68.
it's a state. So let them put together, learn more of politics, so that we need them. Through them, they're going to be more competitive.
Do you think they can upstage the PDP and the APC come 2019?
So, it's a politics. But for me, under a short period of time, a new political party could come and sell its ideas.
What if there's a coalition? Do you think they can upstage the two parties?
So it will be difficult.
Why?
Look at now, about 7 governors and some ministers, some senators have already endorsed Buhari to come out and sing for him.
Are they Nigerians? They're not the whole Nigerians.
They are Nigerians, governor.
But are you saying these 7 people, if they vote, the voter is going to make the president win?
Every governor has his followers. I
Okay.
think that every politician like me and others, one man has access of bringing 1 million votes
Okay.
because of his popularity, because of acceptability by his people. So, this is Buhari, it was God brought him. And it is the God that will take over. And individual, there's no way he can take him away. But it's the God.
All right. Finally, Fayose said the letter was self-serving on part of Buhari, on the part of Obasanjo. Do you agree with him? And he also agrees with all the failures listed by Obasanjo.
So, have you seen Fayose has ever good talk of Buhari? Anything?
No, he said the letter Obasanjo wrote was meant to, put Obasanjo in a good light. He wasn't focusing on Buhari, though he agrees with Obasanjo that all those things he listed that Buhari had failed to do was actually a failure. Do you agree with him?
No, I didn't agree on some of his. You cannot condemn all someone that has written. Among the letter, there must be another one.
Is there anything you appreciate in the letter he wrote?
Yeah, where I appreciate, he says he's a Nigerian. He has said his mind as a Nigerian. If you have any.
No, I'm saying in the letter he wrote, is there anything you think is true in the letter?
No, my anger here, sir.
Okay.
Let him go and meet the president as a colleague, as they were together in the election time till now.
Okay.
Why now that he will come out and say this thing to the public?
Okay, what do you think his coming out has done to Mr. President's reputation?
Mr. President is a man that, disciplined man. I believe even this one can even add his popularity to him. I believe so. Because look at now, if you hear more comments, 8 out of 10, 8, they are still criticizing this 13 pages later from our former President Obasanjo.
How true is that assumption of yours?
My question, I am a listener, I'm politicians. I have people, we listen, we read, and we interact with people. We hear their comments. We hear their contributions. So, my own calling here, nobody that will achieve 100%, even in the examination, we've been to school now, it's very difficult for someone to have 100% in the subject, very few. So, if you are working in the government, there is an area that at least you will not doing well. There are areas that you do well. So, in the area now, to go out and castigate or condemn someone, just like this as a former president. You know, if it is during his time, if you do this kind of thing to him, I believe Obasanjo can send some people to go and deal with you. We have seen it in several times. He has done to the former vice president. He has done to
When you say deal with the person, how do you mean?
Look, the way Amana with the constitution, he wanted to remove Atiku at all costs. Is he the kind of leader he wants? This one was brought by Nigerians.
But how come the other past leaders have not been able to, try to deal with his wrongs? If you say he has done so many wrong things, why did he let him go with those things he did wrong?
Yeah, so he is a kind of human.
Are they scared of him?
No, he's a kind of human beings that he speaks anyhow. He does anything he likes. But there are people, other past leaders, once their time is up, they only need them when the time of council of state, they come and give advice to the nation buildings. So, this kind of leadership we want. And there are many of them, they only come when their need arise. They come and have their meeting and go back to their respective destinations. But Obasanjo only like to interfere, castigation. Why can't he go and sit down with the man and discuss? Now, by bringing this issue now, it has become an issue. Nigerians are making comments here and there. Is it good for Nigerians? There are areas he can advise the president.
Okay. All right. My final question will be, what is technically the stand of the APC regarding this comment?
I think I believe the Secretary of Party yesterday, he has responded to this so-called 30-page letters. There are some prominent Nigerians, there are some prominent stakeholders in APC, they have made their own reactions. I think this one is a kind of political discussions. Now look at me now, I'm discussing. So the same others will go to other media exercise their view.
All right, that's how we'll be calling to wrap on today's edition of the program Politics and You. We've been talking with Alhaji Ali Abacha, who is an APC chieftain from Borno State and also the national coordinator of Coalition for Civil Society, Transparency and Good Governance. We've been looking at the 13-page letter written by ex-President Olusegun Obasanjo to Muhammadu Buhari, asking him not to seek for re-election come 2019, and also listed litany of the areas which the president and his administration had failed Nigerians, and urging Nigerians to seek for a new movement that could dislodge the PDP and the APC come 2019. This has been an interesting discourse, and I hope you're also making your minds up as regards the way or the right direction to go. My name is Anthony Momodu, saying thank you very much for joining me on the Prime Political Program on Nigeria's TV station, and see you next week for another exciting edition.